Hey, Kevin here, top 100 financial advisor and best-selling author, and we are here to talk about the stock market. Today, I am going to give you my 3 biggest trading tips. Now, why are we talking about trading tips? Well, number 1, we hit 3,000 subscribers. This is your opportunity to hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. But one of y'all wanted to be funny and said, hey, you should give us your top trading tips. So I am. So y'all know I be in the comments. I read the comments. I read the DMs as much as I can. And when y'all have questions, I try and answer them during a video or in a video, or just make a video about it. Y'all get the point. So I'm going to give you my top 3 trading tips. I'll walk you through an example that actually happened to me. I'll also tell you one of the trades I'm currently looking to get into, and then we'll see whether or not it made money. I'll also show you a mistake. I wouldn't call it a mistake, but something that happened today. Now, I'm recording this during the day, so the market is not closed. So keep that in mind as you are watching this video. And if you go and check the receipts, which I recommend you do, you can go and see like, oh, wait, you know, this was right or this was wrong, or the market turned as we were recording this video. Anyway, let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing is have a process. You have to have a process. I think you need to have an investing process. I think you need to have a trading process. If you want to trade, trading is not required. When I say investing for the long term, meaning I buy, I'm holding, I'm really not checking and making a whole bunch of moves every day. Y'all know, especially on public, I'm not moving those stocks except for twice a year, and that's if that. You ain't seen me move Adobe. It ain't went nowhere. You haven't seen me move O'Reilly's either. It ain't moving either. It's there and it's gonna stay there until something crazy happens. I've held those for more than 2 years on public. There are other stocks and companies I've held for what feels like decades, but many years, like 7 or 8 years. In either case, I have to have a process for that. How do I choose these companies? When do I reevaluate them? What is the process and the criteria I have for them? That's one. But for trading means I'm trying to make some money now. I'm trying to make some money within a week, within a day. That's day trading. I don't do too much of that. But I'm trying to make some money now. I'm trying to make some money this month, use it for X. Right, whatever that thing is going to be. Maybe I'm paying off my student loans early. Perhaps I am just saving more money. Whatever it is, that's what trading is mostly for. Perhaps I'm looking to replace my full-time income. Again, that's what trading is for. But for you to do that, let's say you got bills due monthly and you're trading stocks every day or every week, that means you need to be consistent because them bills are going to be consistent. That means that you need to have a process. I don't care if it's 3 steps, 5 steps, 10 steps, whatever. You need to have a list of things that you do every single time if you plan on being successful. Every successful trader that has done this for a number of years has a process. I know because I've been in groups, I've been in textbooks, I've been in regular books. All of them have a process, and these are people who have done quite well. I've interviewed people for my radio show. I've interviewed people on podcasts. I've been on their podcasts. Every single time, the most successful people who have done it for years, not a year, not a month, not a day, people who are quite successful at it, have a defined process. I have a defined process, right? And if it's not on there, I'm not doing it. So here's the thing. It may take you a year, even more, to figure out what that process is going to be for you. And everybody's process is different for a number of reasons. Depends on what you're trading. Options are different than stocks. Stocks is different than Forex. I don't do Forex. Forex and all that stuff is different than crypto. So, you know, it depends on which one of these things do you want to trade. Why do you want to trade them? All of those things factor into that process. But also, a process in a normal market may be different than, I don't know, a geopolitical conflict in Russia and Ukraine. That's not something you practice for. That's not anything you really have a process for. So it could be right all of the time, then you hit something like this, and then once this thing is over, which we hope is soon, then things go back to normal. So your process, for you to figure that out, that is, hey, it's not my process, it's just them and what they are doing or what is going on with, you know, inflation, then it's not me. That takes some time to figure out. That is why it takes a while, and that's why there's a learning curve to figuring out how to trade successfully. Now, the problem that people run into is, for whatever reason, maybe people just don't know about it, maybe they're not subscribed to the channel, and maybe listen to your boy. But the problem that most people run into is that they will jump and learn how to trade or try to learn how to trade without practicing and not figuring out that process. And there are some people that say it takes money, you have to lose money first to learn how to make money. That's a lie, and I don't play those games. I ain't out here to lose money. So what you can do is what's called paper trading. It's actually featured in an article about paper trading, which means that whether it's on Thinkorswim, they have a paper trading platform, or Investopedia, they have a paper trading platform there too, where you get to practice and say, look, I want to buy $100,000 of this stock, I want to buy $20,000 of this stock. You make money, you lose money, you figure it out. Right? And it doesn't cost you anything. And then when you feel confident enough and you've done it consistently enough, you can take those lessons, take that process, and apply it in real life, and it should work out for you. That's how you create a process and how you figure out how that process is going to work, by practicing and understanding it first before pulling it off in the real world. What you don't want to do is not have a process and get lucky a few times. That's not going to work for you. For example, if you just hopped into Target yesterday, at one point today, Target was up 12, 13%. You got lucky. And the reason you got lucky is because of earnings. You did not know that jumping into it, right? You may think, oh, well, let me just try that again, and you go and do it with real money, and you lose money because you A, didn't know it was earnings, or B, you got lucky and things didn't work out that way, right? Yeah, that process. Part of my process is knowing when earnings is when I am trading, so I don't run into stuff like that. Okay, so I have that process is number one. Number two is don't force stuff. There are times when it's a time to trade and it's a time to sit down, and that is definitely the case. Depending on your process, there are times like earnings season for me. I usually try not to buy any company that's announcing earnings within that week. I don't like it because things can go in the opposite direction. Nvidia was a great case for me. I had a trade for Nvidia and I got out the day before earnings was announced. Now, I did not think that earnings would have dropped the stock by 6.5% or whatever it was at that point in time. I still think to this day that was stupid. It should not have fallen because they had record sales numbers. That does not make sense. They're like the best quarter they had in 10 years. That's 40 quarters and it fell. That's why I don't trade during earnings. That's why I tell y'all like, earnings is coming out. I don't know, man. I just sit back. That's a part of my personal process because I know when to, not force something. If it's not there, don't take it. Be like a good, quarterback or athlete in whatever sport. Like if it's not there, don't force it. Don't say, well, I have to trade because I have to. Like, no, you don't. We talked about this before. You don't have to invest every single day. You don't have to buy every single dip. That is not required. Know, based on your process, when is the time to get out there, when is the time to be active, and when's the time to say, I'll wait. I'll wait until a better opportunity. For me, and I'll tell you this, since y'all want to know about trading so much, I'm actually give you a number in a stock that I'm personally looking at. That's not advice. I'm not telling you buy this stock, but I'm telling you like, when to buy, when to be active and when not to be active. So for example, for me right now, I got two stocks, actually no, just one stock that I really want to get, but I'm going to wait until it makes sense. I'm not going to force it. So right now, I like Costco. Y'all know I like Costco. I prefer to buy Costco at about $102. Now right now it's $502. Right now it is $524. Now will it drop down to that price? I don't know, but that's the price I want to get it at. I also waited to get SBNY, which is Signature Bank. I also waited to get Walmart, and I put a tweet out that I wanted to get Walmart at 134 and some change, and I ended up getting it. It came down, I bought it. It went up to about 137 at one point today. I wanted to sell it at 139 and got real close to it and then dropped down to 135, and that's why I had my stop loss. So again, it's really putting all those three things together, but I didn't force it. I'm not going to force and buy Costco at where it is now. I want it to come down to a price that I wanted it at. I wasn't going to jump and buy Signature Bank at whatever it was. I wanted to come down to a level, to a price that I wanted it at. I'm never going to force a trade. And that's something I had to learn. When I first started trading, like seriously, I was like, oh, I want to get it now. Because I feel like it's going to do this, and I want to get it right now before it takes off. And that's not always what happens. You really want to change the approach to the stock market where you wait for stocks to come to you. You do your process and say, this is the price, this is the point that I want to get it at. If it comes down, I buy it. If it doesn't, I'll let it go. That takes practice, that takes discipline, because I know how I was when I started. You don't want to have to chase, okay? Let those stocks come to you. So have that process, don't force trades. That's 1 and 2. Practice via paper trade. Technically, that can be, 1.5, maybe 2.5. But we'll move on to step 3. Step 3, or tip number 3, is having a stop loss. This is that ultimate protector that can save you, especially in times like this where the market is moving violently. Volatile is the word of the week, the word of the year, perhaps. What we say when, like, for example, with Walmart, right? I expected market came out, it was okay, and then things started going up for Walmart, and then it dropped. The whole stock market dropped like 600 points within the day at the time that trade was stopped out. That's not okay. That's weird, right? We've had some days in the market where it's down 900 points and then it's somehow positive, or down 856 points to be exact, and then end up being positive. This is volatility, right? And the other thing that y'all ask me all the time is, well, how do I know when to get out? Well, this is where that stop loss comes into play. You should be able to say, look, if the price hits this, I'm out of this particular stock. Now, for me, for Walmart, I got in at 134. It went all the way up to 137. I said, okay, well, originally my stop loss was at, I don't remember the exact number, like $131. So I would have lost $3 per share. I would have gotten out. Okay, so I went through my process and said, hey, if it hits 131, it's a lost cause. I'm not going to be in this anymore. So once it hit 137 and I was making money, I said, okay, well, let me slide this stop loss up to 135. So in a worst case scenario, maybe the market acts a fool and it doesn't get to 139, which is where I was going to leave the stock, and it dips. Well, it'll dip down to 135. At least I'll leave with some money. Okay, and that's exactly what happened. Now, by the time you're watching this, I don't know where Walmart is. I don't know what the current stock price is, but at the time that I was stopped out, it hit 135. I got out with a small profit. I'll take a profit. It wasn't that much money, but again, I had that stop loss in place. Your process, though, is going to determine at what point you put that stop loss. I cannot tell you where to put it. Okay, especially in a market like this where it is wildly volatile and can be down 600 at one point and somehow positive at the end of the day. It's really, really hard to do it in this particular environment right now today. But in most days, there's usually, based on your profit, an easy way to determine, put your stop loss here and then sell it at whatever point. But again, that goes to process. You have to have that in your process, and it's one of the most important things. You should have it as an investor. I see people do this all the time where they get out here and they trade and say, oh, I lost half my money. What? Why? Why would you not have a stop loss so you don't lose half of your money? You definitely want to have that. And when you have it, you can at least save some of your money for the next trade. You can save your, however you want to say it, survive into the next battle, make it to the next round, whatever it is. So that, the ways trading is supposed to work, if you structure it correctly, is that if I lose once, or actually if I lose 3 times, I only need 1 win to cancel out everything. And the way you do that is by having your stop loss at the right places. So let's say I lost money on Walmart. I didn't, thankfully. But let's say, and even Ford, we talked about the option I did for Ford. Thankfully, I had a stop loss and walked away with some money. But if I had Walmart at 134, drop down to 131, I lose $3. Fine. Okay. Let's say I lose 2 more times. That's 3 total at $9. I only need to make $10 in my next trade to win them all, right? To be profitable at the end of the day. Well, the only way I can do that is by having a stop loss that makes sense at that particular price level, at whatever price level that's going to be. Now, I teach a lot of these trading techniques. It can get more complicated and more graphs and all that kind of stuff. But I do break all that stuff down inside the Investor's Toolkit. But aside from that, these are the 3 things that you need. How you use them, what process you have, depends on what you are trading, what your process is, and what you like to do. If you're trading options, there's a different process to that. If you're trading crypto, there's a different process to that. If you're trading stocks, there's a different process to that. My focus is on stocks because that makes the most sense to me. I've had the most practice there. I understand that market more. I can do crypto. I don't do Forex at all. Y'all can keep that. But you have to have processes. You have to have those stop losses that make sense. And then you always want to make sure that you're not forcing it. That you're not just doing it because you have to. You don't want to do any revenge trading where, oh, I lost this one time. I made a mistake. I got to go get it back. I got to get it back right now. It's not basketball where you miss a shot and you come back and dunk on somebody else. y'all don't want this work. But you can do it in sports. It don't work in the stock market. You can really get burned by doing that. But having those 3 tips, that is what's going to help you become a better investor and especially a better trader. It does take practice. I recommend using a paper trading platform. Thinkorswim is out there. Investopedia is out there. I think Webull has one as well. Try them all. See what works. Come down with that process. And that is where that consistency is going to come from. If you don't have a consistent process, you will end up forcing. Right? If you have a consistent process, you're not going to know where to put that stop loss. So that process is the most important thing. All right, that's it for me. Talk to you guys later.